Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Tiger Lilith Tarot, and we are going to be doing a new moon. This is your new moon solar eclipse reading for Scorpios. Hello, Scorpios. Welcome. If it's your first time here, welcome back. If you've been before, welcome, cross watchers. All are welcome. We are going to be taking a look at the new moon in Aries solar eclipse. Took place March 29th, the new moon of Aries. And this is going to be a 6-month reading. And Scorpios, it is a 6-month reading, looking for clear, concise messages for Scorpios. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the astrology. If you're not interested, just skip right on ahead to the video or to the reading. But for those that are interested, this solar eclipse has ended a 2-year cycle of eclipses happening on the Libra-Aries axis. It started on April 20th of 2023. So, sometimes it's fun to look back. If you can use your phone, look at photos, or if you keep a diary, what was going on around April 20th, 2023, and that is kind of the cycle that should be ending out, that the universe will be closing out for you. These were all eclipses in Aries or Libra, and the significance of that is heavy. Aries is independent energy. It's the first house. It's very self-determined, and it's concerned with its autonomy. Libra is in the 7th house, which is house of community, diplomacy, relationships. So there's been kind of this like me versus we energy going on with these eclipses over the past 2 years. And that could have manifested in your life in a number of different ways. You could have maybe, trying to see how do you maintain your autonomy in relationships? How do you stay who you are and remain solid while still being part of a community, while still being a piece of the whole, right? And eclipses bring about very sudden changes. That's an eclipse's job. So that's one of the first thing we're going to look at here is what is Scorpio's exciting ending. And sometimes we're not quite ready for these endings, but an eclipse comes and ends something, sometimes in a dramatic fashion, so that more new energy that can come in. What is ending is no longer serving you anymore. And that's why the universe is putting an end to it. So that new energy that can come in, that can help you grow, help you evolve. This is always for your greater good. So the first thing we are going to take a look at here, Scorpios, is what is your exciting ending? Scorpio's exciting ending. And this is going to be a 6-month reading. We're getting ready for the new set of eclipses, which happened during Virgo season. I believe it's September 7th is the first one for the solar eclipses. We already had our first lunar eclipse on that axis during Pisces season. So this exciting ending for Scorpio placements, what is this exciting ending for Scorpio placements, whether they are ready or not? Dreams. All right. Dreams. I'm getting kind of existing in a dream state, Scorpio. Not really feeling firmly planted on the ground, maybe not being incredibly practical over the past 2 years. You could have been a little bit more loose with plans, with finances, with where you were going. You kind of like went with the breeze. And so that area is coming to an end. I don't think what you want and what you've been dreaming, but I feel like perhaps the past 2 years you've been doing a lot of manifesting and exploring who you are. And it's so that exploration, that time of, again, it's almost like the past 2 years you could have even felt like you've been living in a kind of a dream state, like reality hasn't felt 100% real, if that makes sense. We're going to pull with the tarot and explore more after we're done pulling for a few more placements. Where has Scorpio been playing it small? This is essentially where you're being asked to step it up, because that's Aries energy. Where has Scorpio been playing it small? Spirit self, yourself, card number 1. And again, like I said, Aries is in the first house. So you've been playing it small with Mars energy, actually, is what I feel like, which is interesting because in traditional astrology, before modern astrology, before we knew Pluto existed, Scorpio was ruled by Mars. So you and Aries have that commonality. Aries is ruled by Mars. Spirit self, be who you are as you are. So you've been playing your whole self small. And again, because I feel like you haven't fully been existing in the concrete world here. There's been a lot of exploration going on the past 2 years with you, I think, Scorpio. So playing it small, and again, this is kind of at the placement of where you're being asked to step it up is another way to word that. So you're being asked to step it up and like really stepping into yourself, showing more of yourself, taking up more space in the physical three-dimensional world. What new path is Scorpio ready to step into? Kindred spirits. Oh, that's nice. New path you're ready to step into. Being around people. I feel like something about being around people that just get you, Scorpio. You know, with kindred spirits, you don't have to explain yourself. They know who you are. You know who they are. And there's a protection here as well, right? They're in this glass jar here, these two women. So there is a sense of protection, and the butterfly is always going to symbolize a transformation, a beautiful transformation that's been made. So the new path you're ready to step into, I feel like it's a secure path as well, because you're surrounded by people who feel like kindred spirits, like you've known them in a past life, or if you've known them your whole life, even when you've only known them maybe for 4 months or 6 months or however long. All right, for Scorpio, what energy to work with over the next 6 months for Scorpio? What energy is Scorpio work with to serve its highest good? The unknown. That's interesting. Knowing the unknown. I feel, Scorpio, like the energy you're being pushed to work with has to do with trusting your own intuition. This card always gives me High Priestess vibes with the pillars and the moon in the center there. I like that. Full moon energy. Full moons for the next 6 months could be, you could feel them in a really powerful way, Scorpio, no matter what sign it's happening in. Water is also going to be the energy to work with over the next 6 months. You could find a lot of strength, especially when you're around water. Maybe you're taking more showers and baths, or just going to lakes, bodies of water more. But yeah, knowing the unknown. I think there's something about trusting that you know the unknown, if that makes sense. Because Scorpio, you are a water sign. There's a natural intuition there. Trust your intuition. That you know, perhaps you know, you have a secret knowledge, the clairvoyance, like you just know things. You don't know how you know them, you just know. That's okay. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone, really. You just know what you know. And that's that. And then Scorpio's karmic lesson over the past 2 years with this kind of me versus we energy with Aries. Abundance. Karmic lesson over the past 2 years. Abundance. Finding, I feel like there's something about you being over the past 2 years, kind of determining being in relationships that you both bring something to the table. It's not like one of you isn't carrying the weight. There's an equality. Over the past 2 years, you might have learned some lessons about being equals in relationships with others. And I'm not speaking here simply and solely, or even at all, really, depending on how this resonates, about intimate relationships with a partner. This is about your friendships, your co-workers, your relationships with people in various communities, your family, things like that. It's about meeting one another. You both have something to bring to the table. So lessons about maybe not entering or continuing with dynamics in which you are the abundant one, constantly kind of helping someone else up, is what I'm getting here. That was the lesson to be learned over the past 2 years. Taking care of yourself and not sacrificing so much of your abundance, material abundance, your energy, your love, your presence in of itself. All right, let's clarify. Let's look at, well, not really clarify. Let's take a look at the tarot. That's what we're going to do. And then we're going to clarify the tarot. Great. Scorpios. For Scorpios, please. Scorpios. I always put some sort of water symbol out here for you all. So I have these big old shells that I collected from the ocean last summer. Sometimes I have sand dollars. Sometimes different kinds of shells. But there's always a water element. Since you are a water sign, Scorpio. Okay. Exciting ending. Whether you're ready or not, Scorpio. Dreams. What is this? Yeah, it feels like you've been living kind of outside of reality to a certain extent. Again, that could have brought some... I feel like you haven't been as maybe dedicated in the past 2 years. Yeah, the hermit. Kind of been hermiting, living, like I said, like on your own at the top of this mountain, doing lots of soul searching, lots of looking inside. This Virgo energy with the hermit coming out there. So your exciting ending, I feel like you're not going to be in a solo of an energy anymore either. Over the next 6 months, feels like you're getting ready. You're gearing up to be seen more, to be around people more, whatever that looks like or means to you. And we'll clarify with another deck and see what else comes out there. But yeah, there's definitely an ending to a solitary period in which it feels, again, like you might, like, see this guy's, he's got a beard, this cape. It kind of, I imagine like this is you coming out of the dream that you've been living in the past 2 years. And, you're kind of like Encino Man becoming unfrozen. And, hair is overgrown. You've made friends with nature. Perhaps have been communing a lot with nature, spending a lot of time alone in nature, doing deep analysis, deep reflection. But that time is over. Where have you been playing it small? Where's Scorpio been playing it small? With your own spirit self, which is interesting because you've been doing so much soul searching with the Hermit. All right, we have the Chariot coming out. Yeah, where you're playing it small. Okay, I mean, we couldn't have two different energies over them. What's ending and where have you been playing it small? What's ending is the solitary, which of course you've been playing it small when it comes to movement because you've been in this energy for the past 2 years or so. The Chariot. This is a card of movement, of active will, grabbing the reins and moving in the direction you want to be moving in. So really interesting that this is coming out with spirit self. Be who you are as you are. There's another message here of showing up as you are. Not needing to be perfect, not needing to look perfect or put together all the time. Just show up as you are. Maybe, you didn't have time to, I don't know, put on makeup or do your hair the way you wanted to do it or groom yourself the way you wanted to, or you didn't wash the clothes you wanted to wear this particular thing. It doesn't matter. Just be who you are. And, you're being asked to step it up in that area, and the Chariot in movement itself. So you've been playing it small in that area and kind of taking the reins and guiding. Okay, all right, kindred spirits here. This new path that Scorpio's ready to step into. The Three of Coins, working with others. So I like this coming out with kindred spirits, because what this is telling me is this new path you're ready to step into, because of all the soul searching, the dreaming that you've done, you do have a very deep sense of self, of who you are. And because of that, there are more people around you who you just get, right? You don't even need to say or speak anything. You just intuitively understand one another. So the Three of Coins, the path you're ready to step into is working. Some of you are starting a new job. You might be in kind of the intern position. Not really an intern, but an apprentice. you're learning from those older and wiser than you. You could be getting some mentors that feel like kindred spirits. This is also um what's working together. It's a complementary energy. It's communal, but that's not the words I'm looking for. This new path you're ready to step into doesn't there's not conflict. There's not as much conflict here. There's not as much adversarial energy because of this kindred spirits attitude. So you could find yourself working, it's just going to be more harmonious and unified in, and I feel like in all areas of your life, but especially in your work life. There's going to be, you're going to find more unity there. Let's look at the unknown. What energy to work with the next 6 months? The unknown. Knowing the unknown. What is this for Scorpio? 4 of coins. 3 of coins, 4 of coins coming out. We have lots of earth energy coming out. Some of you could have earth in your chart, or it's just, right, because this felt like very ungrounded energy. So I feel like there's a grounding energy that's coming into play over the next 6 months. The energy you're ready to work with, knowing the unknown, and it feels like also knowing who to share this unknown information that you have with. Not everyone is ready for it, Scorpio. Not everybody. Scorpio, you have a depth and an intensity to you naturally. You naturally are going to kind of, I don't want to say go to the extreme, but where other people will stay on the surface, like you're not happy on the surface. So there's information I feel that you know intuitively some people are just not ready to hear. And so there's something about the energy to work with over the next 6 months is being discerning over who are you sharing this like mystical not knowing that you have. And it's not only about the knowing that you have, but the knowing that you are exploring, that right, because you're diving into unknown waters. There's uncharted territory here. And not everyone is ready to go on that journey. So it's taking the people that are ready, taking who's ready to go on that journey with you, who's ready to receive this information, or who wants to go on the journey to find this information with you. And the karmic lesson over the past 2 years, abundance. Again, this feels like a balancing of learning to be in balanced relationships where there's not just one person doing all the work, or it's 20-80 or something like that. The moon, that interesting karmic lesson over the past 2 years, abundance with the moon. You also learned that not everyone is to be trusted. Yeah, the 10 of swords at the bottom of the deck. There were, over the past 2 years, I feel like secrets were revealed in some of your relationships where the person was not nearly as abundant as they said they were. They didn't have what they said they have, whether it's financial, again, abundance, energy, a knowledge. So those things were revealed to you over the past 2 years. And I feel like you have, that's why this 4 of coins is kind of discernment. Like, wait a second, who's ready for this? Who's ready to go where you want to go, and who's just not ready yet? Right? Let's clarify. We're going to go with the Witch's Tarot. I'm feeling the Witch's Tarot to clarify with for you today, Scorpio. All right, let's see here. Messages for Scorpio's greatest good, please. Messages for Scorpio's greatest good. Major arcanas we have out here: Virgo, Cancer, and Pisces. Cancer, Pisces with the moon. Lots of water. receptive energy. This is all, mind you, Scorpio, this is all receptive energy that came out. Even though the Chariot is a card of active control and movement, it's still Cancer's card. It is still an energy of being of an energy of receiving. All of these are, which is interesting. Okay, let's see. Exciting ending, whether you're ready or not. This hermiting that you've been doing. Let's see. I mean, I feel like you've learned a lot about yourself over the past 2 years. I said, obviously, about others. Yeah, Page of Wands. Your exciting ending. Yeah, you're not hermiting anymore. You're ready to go on the adventure. The universe, whether you're ready or not, the universe is saying, time to go on the adventure. Time, if you're not thinking about going on the adventure anymore. This is like planning for the adventure. The page has a lot of ideas, but there hasn't been an execution yet, especially with this energy. And it's time to move into that night energy, movement. Yeah, the Fool at the bottom of the deck here, going on a brand new journey, a brand new beginning. And again, this might not look like a whole lot of movement for you, Scorpio, because we have so much receptive cards, but it is a new path. And for you, the exciting journey could just be, again, coming out of hiding. You might be getting back in contact with people that you haven't spoken to in over 2 years as well, Scorpios. You could see that. Let's look at the Chariot. I'm playing it small. Where's Scorpio been playing it small? What's this Chariot energy here? The Tower. And a Libra got the Tower as well in this placement. They come right before you. The Tower and Strength with the Chariot. Lots of major arcana. So 3 major arcanas coming out with where have you been playing it small, which tells me you've been playing it very small because you're being asked to step it up in a big way. So the Tower and Strength. You've been playing it small with yourself. Similar message here to Libras, because you don't want to rock the boat, because any movement would have rocked the boat. Any sort of direction, it's almost like you taking control of a situation would have caused some sort of unexpected things were balanced very delicately and in your life over the past 2 years. You didn't really have room to take chances. That's what was going on. You have room to take more chances now. And it's going to require courage and bravery. But because you've been playing it small in that area, and Scorpio, you have that naturally in you. And the Tower, that's some of your energy there. Shaking things up, doing the unexpected. So you've been playing it small when it comes to doing the unexpected and really stepping into the spotlight. Oh, the Fool is at the bottom of the deck again, interestingly enough. Yeah, definitely ready for some sort of new beginning, for sure here. So we have Leo energy coming out, and then more of your energy, and Aries with the Tower. Let's look at the 3 of Coins. It's the World, and lots of major arcana coming out here. New path Scorpio's ready to step into. Oh, there's the Fool. It came out. Figured it would. The Fool, the World, the Fool, and the King of Swords. Yeah, this new path you're ready to step into is very aligned. The World breaks down to a 3, and we have the 3 of Coins. 3s are about building momentum, patterns. So the World, something is completed, something is done. So this new path you're ready to step into is a path of feeling more complete and more whole within yourself, feeling more, having a more secure, feeling more secure in your job, in your finances, maybe, paying off bills, things of that nature. And then we have the Fool. There's a new journey here. This could be something new for you. Maybe some of you have been living paycheck to paycheck the past 2 years, and now you're stepping into this new path because you're aligned with these people, these kindred spirits, and there's harmonious work being done, more is getting accomplished. So there's more to earn, there's more to be had. And with the King of Swords, I feel like this new path you're ready to step into, it's a little colder. You could be finding yourself giving the cold shoulder to others, not the kindred spirits and the people you're finding unity with, though. Because when you speak, these people are going to listen. Because what you have to say, the King of Swords, you have a very clear mind. Your mind, it's like your mind and your intellect is your authority over the next 6 months. You speak with authority about intellectual matters. And when you speak, people listen. You're speaking truth, honesty, integrity. And kings are leaders. Some of you could be receiving a promotion in the next 6 months. You could find yourself being the boss. Maybe some of you starting your own business. But it's your voice, it's your intellect that people are listening to and wanting more of in the next 6 months. Some of you could be going into a job in which, again, you're taking what you've learned and applying it. It could be specifically in law. Some of you, it's specifically in law or in the sciences of some kind. Let's look at this Four of Coins. The energy to work with over the next 6 months. Four of Coins, please. Nine of Swords. Okay. Anything else? Okay. We have the Nine of Swords, the Magician, and the Nine of Cups. We have a lot of nines coming out. All of a sudden, the Hermit's a 9, Moon is a 9, Nine of Swords, Nine of Cups. Nines, there's almost a situation is almost done. But because it's towards the end, there's usually some sort of contradictions going around. There could be some idealism, but nines are also about leadership. So, like I said, in the next 6 months, you really could find yourself getting a promotion, a raise, or just stepping into a leadership role. You're manifesting your wishes here. The energy to work with over the next 6 months, the Magician and the Nine of Cups, it's about manifesting your wishes and your dreams. All this soul searching and this dreaming energy over the past 2 years, it's this energy, it's like, okay, time to call it in. Time to bring it down to earth. Time to bring it down to the dirt and the earth and the soil so that you can see it in your life. Now, it's making you a little nervous, though. And I understand that. I think it's because there is still this discernment, right? I mean, of course, there's always, I feel like, going to be some anxiety when it comes to the unknown. So there's some trepidation around your manifestation here. But regardless, that is the energy that you're being called to work with over the next 6 months. Trusting in the unknown, trusting in your intuition, trusting in your discernment, and manifesting these hopes and dreams that you've been kind of living in over the past 2 years. All right, let's take a look at the moon. The moon. What's going on with the moon? Karmic lesson over the past 2 years. Me versus we energy. The moon. The High Priest, the Ten of Swords. Yeah, see, the Ten of Swords is at the bottom of the deck there. You've learned over the past 2 years that, again, some people just aren't as honest as you are, Scorpio. They're not as honest. They're not as forthcoming. They're not as forthright. And I feel like some of you had to learn that the hard way, especially with that abundance card coming out, because you brought the abundance and other people that were supposed to, they didn't. So we have the High Priest, which is the Hierophant, the Ten of Swords, and the Four of Wands. So some of this happened in your own home environment. Some of you could have been living with someone who was incredibly deceitful, who took energy away from you, took advantage of your energy, your time, your abundance. Again, it could be even materially speaking. Could have been a Gemini or Taurus in particular. Doesn't have to be, but it could have been. And, but you learn. Here's the thing, Scorpio, is that you took the high road with the high priest. The high priest is a spiritual conduit. This is ritual. This is the way things have always been done. You learned that sometimes the way things have always been done isn't going to work. Sometimes you need to switch it up and do things differently. And I feel like this has to do especially for you when it comes to treating people. You want to treat someone right. Again, it's if when you find out that someone's keeping secrets and lying, then you need to change it up because it led to deception. Four of Wands. There's cause for celebration though at the same time. So that tells me that you learn. I feel like here what's happened is that you really did learn the lesson. You really took it in, and you're like, yeah, you know what? I can't just because you're a person of integrity and dignity doesn't mean that everyone else around you is going to be. And I feel like there were some people that were lying to you, keeping secrets, not telling you the truth about things. And it was very painful. There were some painful endings. There could have even been some painful endings. Like I said, when it comes to ritual, the way you've always done things, something had to give about that. Because you conducting yourself the way you always had, it led to pain and deceit because you didn't see the secrets that someone was keeping. But again, Four of Wands, there is cause for celebration because you've learned the lesson. All right. We're going to end this reading here with a few advice and inspiration cards from my new Oracle deck called Spiritual as Fuck. I am really enjoying this deck. I just got it and I think it's great. So let's pull a few cards for you, Scorpio, and that will be your reading. I truly hope this has helped, offered some insight or guidance, confirmation for you, clarity. It helps over the next 6 months, right? Please like and subscribe if you feel so drawn to do so. I appreciate every one of you. And I do have some slots open for personal readings. If anyone's interested, my email address is in the description box below. You can send me an email there. Okay, let's see. What else? Inspiration, advice for Scorpio for the next 6 months. Anything else? Now, there's a lot of cards in this one. I'm not sure how many. I haven't counted. I've just started using these readings, so I certainly haven't seen all of the cards either. The secret to being a good human is learning not to take your shit out on others. Okay. Maybe that's why you were kind of in this solo energy and dreamy energy over here. Because you needed to be. Maybe you were in a place where you're like, oh, if I say something, it's going to be my baggage I'm going to affect the situation in a negative way. It was almost one of those situations where it's better if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all, I feel. Let's see here. Stop stressing over shitty as fuck people. Yeah, that's down here. That's the secret keeping, crappy, deceptive energy. Courage is knowing it might hurt and doing it anyway. Stupidity is the same. That's why life is hard. That's interesting, isn't it? What's the difference between courage and stupidity in your life? A big part of adulting is not crossing the line when your rebelliousness turns into recklessness. The people who ride this line most gracefully usually have a clear eye on their values and a good friend or two who will tell them when they're being a dumbass. If you can't decide if you are being brave or stupid, call a friend. Hint, don't call a dumbass friend, though. All right. Initially, I was going to say that there, but you know what? That's that kindred spirits thing right there. Courage is knowing it might hurt and doing it anyway, and you've got the not dumbass friends to call to check you or do like I call it to, you know, sometimes like, you know what, I need a reality check. Let me contact this friend. People aren't ignoring you, love bug. I don't think you thought people were, because I don't think you wanted people around you in the first place, really. But I am going to put this over here because I feel like once you start going down this knowing the unknown path, you are going to leave some folks behind because they're just not ready to go that deep. And they might never be ready. It just might not be in their constitution. Right? Grab life by the balls and make it your bitch. That's at the bottom. So there we go. I'm going to leave you with that, Scorpio. Great reading. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you at the next one. Take care.